Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
I'm Ringru, hello, hello, hello.
And folks, giving you some more ST2 League play here. On Slutsk East, we have one familiar face and one a little bit less so. Rang, who do we have?
On left hand side in blue, we have under Fisa Piatelo the second,
Under the
playing
Sea.
Under the
Under the Sea.
Sea. I was like under Tiesa, like some sort of Spanish name. But anyway, it's like even Spanish, I don't even know. He's playing Pangelair with a Vanguard income. On the right hand side in red, we have a Eugene playing 3rd Canadian Mechanized, also with a Vanguard income.
So look at the two things over here. One thing I do love seeing is I love seeing those kangaroos come on out. Such an underappreciated battle taxi. I
Mhm.
love seeing these guys. I don't even want to call them half tracks because they're somehow better and worse than half tracks.
And they
I don't really know how
they
to
don't
explain
even
it.
have half a track, it's a full track.
Exactly.
I have to call
Exactly.
them
It's like
like
they're
a
compensating for something.
APC, I think. I think it's, yeah,
Ah,
like
an
an
APC.
APC. I'm sure they get popular in the future.
Oh, exactly. When we start building vehicles that cost $20 billion with a B that can't stand up to a spitwad from Romania. That was a bit of a Pentagon Wars joke, but I'm not sure that really landed with most of our audience
I'm
as it happened.
sure most of our audience has seen it.
Okay.
I know our audience.
That's true. That's true. We got the best damn audience on the internet. I don't care what anybody says.
Damn right.
Um, so we got a Puma and a Panther in the north. So we got a couple of guys over here just beating on a couple of Vickers. Not too surprising overall, but standard decks really from both sides. A
Yeah.
couple of heavy tanks early on as a Hail Marys from under the sea Piatelo. But on the Canadian side, it's just human wave tactics.
Yeah, just pretty classic Commonwealth rifle spam, which I'm very good at. You just get a lot of goddamn riflemen which you can just use to spam all over the bloody place. I do like Under the Sea's northern tactic with the Panther D. You usually see so many people ignore, the open field. But heck, when you have Panthers, you don't have to ignore open fields. You can pretty easily push over them.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I do love actually these martyrs being rushed into the fort, trying to keep people at arm's length, and they're able to do that for the moment. Definitely going to be able to shoot and kill any battle taxi that comes forward. Now, where I might be a little bit more concerned for him is when these DDs come on in. The DD tanks, I mean, while they might not be the best amphibious vehicles, already knocking out the shooter over here for that Jagdpanzer, and they can just ping him away to death. I mean, they don't need to kill him, just aggro him, more or less.
Yeah, at close range, they are very bloody good at what they do, because goddamn Sherman tanks. Or Under the Sea at longer range, best of Jagd Panzers, that's really going to be his beneficial engagement distance, of course, but in a town fight down south, it can be pretty difficult to engage at longer range.
Certainly seems that way. Luckily, right now, I would argue, for Under the Sea with Piatelo, Piatelo, his P4 is causing more than a little bit of hassle for these Shermans. And really, that's the big thing. The Canadians have to limp over into B to get some really solid kind of anti-tank and, well, really armored vehicle play on the field. Because right now, they just don't have that.
They just don't really. It's all about the Shermans, which they do perform good at closer range, but yeah, Under the Sea does have the Shermans in a pretty good position. It's at longer range, and yeah, Jagdpanzer is a huge pain in the ass to deal with. It's really going to come down to, I think, a Firefly or a 17-pounder to effectively knock it out at long range. So I don't feel like Under the Sea is going to be able to really advance into the town, but he's not really going to be able to lose it, I think, either. It's just going to be a stalemate.
The really interesting thing is to see whether or not these Piats are able to be even remotely effective.
The answer's
Now,
no.
yeah, I mean, and that's kind of the
Yeah.
knee-jerk reaction, but it's one of those things like now we also like 6-pounder in the center. 6-pounder could be more than, oh no, he's going to be not able to engage the Hetzer, the Panzer quick enough. And and just more and more braces of tanks being brought in. Yep, pair and another pair coming behind them. I am surprised by the meagerness of the positioning to the north. I mean, yes, there was a 57 mil that's bought the farm and it's been placed there as we speak. But not a whole lot of Canadian stuff is there. I understand that the Northwest Territories are a thing for a reason, but I feel like there should be something there. I feel like Panzer Lair, if they're remotely at any kind of inclination, they can just bust through that and take the entire northern half of the map.
They definitely can. I just think he's hoping to God that he can hold on to the north side of essentially a very meager force and just concentrate all his income into the south and center. And that is working, because right now Under the Sea isn't really pushing up north. He does not really have vision yet to know yet. There is nothing. But yes, if he was to push in the door up north, he could very easily break through, as its lock is only held by a single rusty, old and crumbly Cheeto. If you've seen that picture. I hope you guys know what picture I'm talking about. You seen it, Khan? You know, it's like the lock being held, but it's like a Cheeto instead of like a lock. Like
Yeah, that's actually how people from New Jersey have breakfast, man. So like
okay.
Yeah, that's so that way you keep yourself safe and you got a bite to eat in the morning. That's how it works. It's also why we call it Canadian bacon and pork roll and Taylor ham, and I'm just starting all kinds of controversies right now. Hetzer, so I'm going to continue to call it a Hetzer, but the Jagdpanzer to the south here continues to be quite a bit of a hassle. Just throwing rounds down range. It's going to be constantly causing issues. Spitfire, not to be outdone though, is going to drop, several hundred pounds of material on it and finally kills it. There we go.
Yeah. Now we just got a bunch of shamans being brought in, just trying to fight over his town. We do have a Panther down south, and does have a pretty, he has a pretty good angle up north, but he could get a little bit of an angle, to shoot down the southern road. That would definitely be rather beneficial. But we've got another Spitfire being brought in. What's he gonna bomb? He's gonna bomb at MG42 because he does not like it, and the MG42 does not like being blown up.
I get it though. Like the Panther, as good as it is, it's not in the most valuable of positions. Contrast that now with the north. See how this 6-pounder, because we are in a Canadian division, this 6-pounder has beautiful line of sight onto both the Panther as well as the Puma. Here's where I would go and turn off my hold fire. It's time to go to Pound Town. Like you got to do something about that.
Yeah, it's playing. He's still holding on to the farmstead at least. I think he just wants to make sure there's a 100% guaranteed shot to actually blow up the bloody Panther. Yeah.
Well, he stopped firing.
He can at least blow up the Puma. I think he has line of sight on the Puma. Yes, he does.
He's got both. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now he's going to start to engage the Puma. And if he kills that, then at that point it's a much different ball game.
Yeah, at least there'll be no more recon, so we must keep the Panther blind.
You go down to the south. Isn't the other Jagdpanther down there? No, it's P4. 2 P4s back of the Panther. Another Panther being brought on in.
Holy moly.
And I always want to say the Americans. Canadians are having a little bit of a near-death experience. Actually, some of them actually have died. See the 2 pyres right there. Yeah, how the heck do you push back Panzer Lair at this position?
Yeah, he just, on this end of the town at longer range, those Panthers are a huge pain in the ass. He even got a Flak 88 in the central position as well to hold off against, really, I think, more for Spitfires rather than Shermans. But Under the Sea, he's pretty much done what he's needed to do. It's just stalemating the southern side. You're not going to be able to push Canadians out of that town. And he's pretty much ridden just due to the fact he has one of the flags up north by 2 Flammenwerfer squads. That's pretty much it. I think his best bet is to just try and continue his more northern engagements here and just try to grab another flag or 2. Like run the rare Vickers HMG squad is. That would be a pretty good flag to try and take.
So I think the Panther just went down to the south, which there's been such swinging material. I mean, there's another Panther already there, which is both terrifying and impressive at the same time. But it feels like the second that one armored vehicle gets any kind of remote victory, There's always something that's just to knock him right back down a peg.
Yeah. And for both sides, they already seem like down south, one can make a slight breakthrough or get some good kills, but then reinforcements come in and crush out. Like up north, Yuejin made a little bit of a push, almost got the flag, but now there's all these armoured vehicles, and they would like to say hello to the riflemen. And the problem with the rifle spam, of course, is that, I mean, some of them do have Piatelo now, which is nice, but for the most part, you don't really have the anti-tank, so even just, Pumas and Martyrs are going to be a huge pain in the ass. You can't push into them if they're there. You need to put them up first.
But they are able to do that with a fair bit of degree of skill. Only problem is you tend to have to sacrifice your rifle leaders to do it. Just looking down to the south in the meantime, Pioneer coming back through. Excuse me, wow, Spitfire going after. No. Yeah, I thought he was going after the Pioneer. That was weird. I had a reticle over onto. That was odd. Anyway.
Pioneer's dead, Joe. He's not going to be pioneering for much longer. Or at all.
Oh no, he's experiencing a new frontier.
Oh.
Seeing what the afterlife is like these days.
Pretty interesting perspective.
Well, I could make the not very lively crowd joke, but I think we'll leave that as we are. 17 pounders being brought on in. I mean, speculatively speaking, we have a 6-pounder already in that southern town. That, south central town.
Yep.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Sherman 3's being brought in. Why is it no Sherman 3's?
He's got the Fireflies.
Oh,
Spending them on
yeah,
fire. Yeah, he needs to blow up big, scary cats with little bugs that fly and glow at night.
Yeah, and gets sung about by Owl City. Yeah, long thing.
The northern push is going pretty well for Under the Sea. His man's captured the farmstead, so it's another flag under his control, and he might be able to get another one as well, really, where that 6-pounder is, because it's just a single 6-pounder, and he is running, I don't want to say full of hills, he's more like running full of trees.
Forgive me, I'm just watching as these Fireflies are engaged by this Jagdpanzer.
That's pretty close range fighting for both sides involved, yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a riskier, yeah, it's pretty risky for both sides. Especially for the Fireflies, as in that sort of engagement against those tanks, definitely benefit from shooting longer range.
True, but in a knife fight, it's not a bad idea either when the other side doesn't want to have a knife fight either.
Oh, the 6-pounder just knocked out the Panther, it seems.
Yes, it did.
Oh,
now, he's got to be careful.
Yeah, it was a frontal shot too. Huh.
Got to be careful, because there still is a flak 88 right there.
Yep.
And while we can make as much and cast as many aspersions as we want to about the flak 88, oh no. Okay, Spitfire's coming in, this front line's going to collapse. Or not. Wow. I didn't even see the Gepards. I imagine they didn't either. But the P4 is getting taken out one by one here. Just checking back over here overall. We're seeing a much more aggressive push towards highly vetted tanks than anything else.
Yes, we are.
Like, I understand it. At the same time, I feel like we're missing an opportunity here.
Opportunity for what?
Just have waves upon waves of P4s and things like that, but
Yeah, I see why to take the more vetted runs is, like, yes, availability is nice, but I don't think you really get the chance to really exploit that availability. I think, especially if you're going for like more of a Vanguard income, where you just, you want to make every point count by, getting the most veterancy for your buck.
I suppose that's fair. I suppose that's fair. But what it comes down to at this point anymore, at least over here for Eugene, is we have 2 Fireflies and a smattering of rifles. He needs, yep, there the Sherman 3s at least being brought on in, but he's holding nothing else. To the north, again, there's 4 flamethrowers who haven't moved since their initial position because they don't need to.
Yeah, he's really tunnel visioned, it seemed, in the southern flank here without really trying to deal with his northern Plus, he does have, I mean, he has some reinforcements to try and hold that flag, but it's nothing really substantial. It's just to try and hold on to it for the time being. But we got more German reinforcements here. With the Panzer IVs, and even just the half-track is going to be enough to ward off those riflemen.
I'm wondering if we're going to see a priest here. I think the priest might be a good call to at least put some fire down that central position to the south.
Yeah. Or just like an anti-tank gun on the hill, but like aiming northwards to try and knock out some of those Panthers and Panzer IVs, because he really needs to knock out his armor. And that hill position is a pretty good position. I mean, put a 17-pounder or Firefly up there. Knock out those tanks easy peasy style.
It's true, but I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think so either, Khan. Yeah, Under the Seas is putting enough pressure on the centre here. I mean, he's managed to capture the flag once again on the hill. Panzer Grenadiers and just the armour. It's just barely going to be enough, it seems, to hold. I mean, the Panzer IVs are just such a pain in the arse from your riflemen.
Kind of surprising when all is said and done. I know rifle squads are not meant to be super beefy assault units. I get the fact that they're supposed to be there to kind of just hold the line to other stuff to kind of come through. And that's really always been the great failing of the 3rd Canadian, is that they're just too nice. You need to have some other like really herky-jerky kind of stuff going on here. Yeah,
everyone needs assault rifles.
Exactly. You got to get more Second Amendment-y here. Like you got to do something more aggressive. And it's just that's not a 3rd Canadian play, and Panzer Lehr's got an awful lot of teeth.
It's true. I think it's really just coming down to the tank engagement more than anything. I mean, seen down south, the Firefly has gone down, and the second one is Rao, and they only lost one mortar, so that is a very worthwhile trade here. And yeah, I feel like Yuejin just got way too tunnels visioned, and even though this town side is pretty lucrative to push, especially as such an infantry spammy division such as 3rd Canadians, there's still too much open ground to really contest it, because when it's like 88 and Panther Ds, your 3rd Canadian armor can only do so much, but you're also seeing a Ram too. Such a rare sight to see anymore, as it's no longer a proper tank, but only a command tank, but just a funky looking vehicle. I just love how it looks. So this is also national bias speaking here, guys, so take it out of a grain of salt.
National bias? I've never heard that before happen.
I know, right?
Cast. How would you ever think that a caster could have any kind of preference for one way or the other? Yeah. We only hope one day you might see the light. No. Spitfires going in after these MG42s. I'm not sure I understand even the target selection for this either, and he's got to know at this point that there's so much ground fire down there that this doesn't. Curious decision.
Yeah, definitely been more useful if he started bombing some things up north, as it's a little less heavy up here in the anti-air department.
Well, forgive me, as there's a Panther down here to the south, and I don't know. It's like a hull down position. Interesting. All right. We still can be seen though, so this is interesting. Very interesting indeed.
6-pounder fire and array. The Firefly is trying to get into a position. Well, the Panther is going to back off, which is definitely a smart move. Oh no, he's going to engage now. Try and knocks out the 6-pounder. Something knocks it out.
There's MG42.
Yeah.
And it looks like he paid attention a little bit to what you had said about bringing in more material to the north. But at this point, it's a Willys with a couple of sniper scouts, and those snipers are already been sniped.
At least there'll be some reconnaissance, at least. So he'll see the giant puss coming his way if it ever comes. He can, like, shoot 1 or 2 guys with a sniper. Oh, yeah, he's Bugger Joe.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's why the 6-pounder being brought in is best thing he can hope for under the circumstances. But Yuejin, I'm surprised. This is very unlike him. He's been rather profligate with his units as opposed to kind of massing them more appropriately.
Yeah. He's just not having any real favourable tank engagement here. He's actually moving his Ram commander in a very precarious position, and it almost got killed. And with a commander unit like that, it's preferable if it doesn't die. You can't really afford to replace it, especially such a rare and unknown vehicle of the round too. Those Spitfires up north actually. Man, the anti-air is so goddamn strong.
Well, he waited too long.
Yep. The Flak 88 fire, it's just. And the Gappage, of course, but really a Flak 88 at long range, just stopping the bombing runs before they can even rail bomb.
And that's kind of the tail of it so far, is that there's been this consistent push from Yuejin, but then after he gets shut down, now it's drips and drabs of reinforcements, drips and drabs of reinforcements. So we're seeing, Sherman here, Sherman there, Sherman here, Sherman there. But
Sherman's bloody everywhere.
Exactly. But you got to be able to deploy them in larger numbers. As right now we're seeing P4s being brought in, Martyr 3s, like, say what you want to, but the Martyr is an effective anti-tank platform.
Yeah, and then it's dangerous to use at close range, but it can pay off because it will be able to pretty much knock out any tank at close range of its high-powered gun. And for only 50 points, it's decently cost-effective. I still think Sherman's only 15 points more, but it's not bad. And at longer range, it can do pretty good. But yeah, it's just coming down to the tank engagement, all things considered. And under the sea, he just has more and better armor on the field.
I do think at the same time, too, that Yuejin has just not been playing the artillery game strong enough. Yes, I'm aware of the fact that he's got OP material, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Dump one of those Shermans, though. Bring in that Priest 105s that he's got. He's got a pair of them. Jagdpanther does go... No, sorry. Yeah, Jagdpanther does go down here in the south in those trees, but the Firefly follows him very quickly into death. And that's kind of been consistently what's been going on. Like, you've got to be able to suppress material. And now he's down 16-8. Like, good luck coming back from this.
Yeah, so just the northern select just collapsed because he has nothing here at all, which is not ideal in the slightest. Like, I also think just the complete abandonment of north is really screwed him over. I definitely could have used a fly or two, or a 17-pounder here or there to try and blow stuff up.
I agree.
Because it's just been completely... It's all free real estate here for Under the Sea.
Yeah. And you're not going to be able to aggress against a Panther and all that extra material. P4 being backed up by a Panther, like, it's even more terrifying now. Do you want to take this to ×2 at some point in the future, then?
Sure. 23?
23. So we're not saying that the writing's on the wall here, guys, but it does look like the Fat Lady is certainly kind of warming up for her aria.
And she's singing about the writing on the wall.
She is. Yeah. She's saying, "I'm sorry, Mama, I never meant to hurt you. But tonight, it looks like this match is over." So Panzer Lair, we decry them sometimes as having such a very hit or miss kind of play that in the first 10 minutes, you either have to win some devastating victory, or you have to just avoid the most minor of losses. And shockingly enough, I was surprised to see early investment into Panthers actually pay off.
Yeah, this is a map where definitely that heavy tank advantage does work out because there's so much open field. And early on, I mean, Yuejin didn't really have any heavy anti-tank to deal with him. And he played the northern side retreat, or you see people forget, and it's nice to see someone exploit it so efficiently and easily. At the same time, Yuejin completely ignored it, which did not help at all. But yeah, they have like good armor, and I do like seeing the use of the Martyrs as a good, armor addition. Same with the Egg Panthers too, a pretty decent armored force. Like
they are certainly armor adjacent, I will grant you that. But yeah,
almost
Yuejin
like
got played
division.
Exactly. I mean, he got played like a fish. Like, I'm not sure I can make it any clearer than that. And there we go. We're gonna have a tap out over here, 25-43. And I'm actually even surprised to see the KD was that close. It felt much more devastating from the other direction.
I feel like he got like some pretty good Panther kills. And
that might be the case, you're right.
Yeah, look at
it's
kills.
110s by comparison.
A
couple of guys here and there, but not really anything too impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bartel 4 kills. Werner 4 kills. And wait, 3 Sherman DDs and a Firefly. So that's the kind of material they got to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Jagdpanzer, another 4 kills. And again, three Shermans? Yep, 3 Shermans and a Firefly. So, the funny thing, and I guess this is kind of the lesson to take away from this particular match, is that Martyrs are excellent in close range, kind of ambush positions. Yes, they work even better at range, but if someone gets super close on you and aggresses hardcore, you can free up some of your heavy tanks for other deployment, which I think is exactly what Piatelo did here,
Yeah.
and let your opponent come to you. I think it was extremely well done.
Yeah. It's also I know Third Canadian is I find to be a weird division. A lot of people do say it's a very competitive and one of the best divisions in the game because you have great infantry spam and Sherman spam, of course. But it's hard in the same time because your infantry just really don't have AT. It can be very difficult.
Exactly.
And as we see, oh yeah, he really needed more anti-tank in the town. He did have rifle Piats, of course, but he just couldn't use them effectively enough to get those kills.
Regrettably, he was not able to do so. But you know what? We all have bad games. So, Eugene, better luck next time with this one. Honestly, under TC, really well done, sir. Panzer Lair play was just delicious on this map. So, really, really well done.
Yep.
But all right, folks, as always, we're looking forward to bringing you some more excellent SD2 action in the coming weeks. And I suppose until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.